Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're going to take a look at Mysteria rune. This is about the third time I'm trying to record this opener now, as I realized after the first recording I spent 10 minutes talking to no one because the mic wasn't set up properly, and the second time I had to restart and do an update and the mic still wasn't working. And now I've fixed it for sure because now I can double check it and we're all good to go. So we're going to get right into this by saying this deck is great in the current meta, seems to do really well against most decks. I've had very few matchups that were in a negative light. Pretty much everything in this deck works pretty nicely together, even though some of it looks like a pretty big mixed bag with, you know, Grand Spire, Vespa, all those sort of things. A lot of people don't typically run those right now all the time, but definitely seems to work. I've got to give kudos to the people on Twitter who originally posted this deck. I can't remember who it was, but it was pulled from a random Japanese Twitter page. So hopefully you guys do enjoy it, and we're going to get right into it. So for the first game we're going to look at, we're playing against Sword, and a pretty decent one at that, looking at an unlimited, so definitely not bad. So we have Vespa Hunter, Mysterian, both not very good, those two, but Mysterian Knowledge will work nicely, and Omen is actually going to be fairly decent for an opener. Both cards I like to have in my starting hand, and getting Anne just makes things even better. So we can go for the Mysterian Knowledge, which is going to allow Anne to drop slightly, at least at the start. We're also going to be able to play Owen pretty much immediately following that, which is awesome. And we already can play either of our 2 drops here for turn 3 and still be fine. Considering the Pain Rapier Master, definitely probably the way to go. We clear out the board here and spell boost ourselves just that little bit. Or Mysteria boost, if you want to use the better term. So Disciple of Usurpation, that's going to be a pain. Not a fun one to kill off, but not a card we're too worried about. And I'm not too worried about getting draw either. I'd rather set up for this Grand Spire play later on by getting out the Earth Sigil now. Frontline Cavalier, a little bit of a problem card, as we want to deal with it with Staff of Whirlwinds, but at the same time we want to play Mysteria. Because Mysteria is such a good card, so we want to get our Mysteria Founder out as soon as we can. Be able to beat this 4-4 out of the game and pretty much get the 1-1 to face. Or actually the 1-1 to the 2-1, because that will gain stats in health with Evo and with any kind of card they play that will be a loot card. So I suppose that was definitely the right choice in the long run. So that Staff of Whirlwinds will 100% kill it no matter what. Even though I think it probably would have died either way at this point. So Staff of Whirlwinds cleans up the board. Even though we could have done it with, you know, a few other cards, but Staff definitely felt like the easiest way to go without wasting too many big 4 killers. Twin Fang Prodigy, Lancelot. Again, not really a problem. Being on 7 health kind of sucks though, so now we have to take the game a little more cautiously. We can't just slam big heavy hitters. So we definitely want to take it on the slower way. Which, with the way our board is, should be fine. Spineblade's a little problematic, as I would have loved to have got a Mysteria card out of that. But we should get a chance to drop the Mysterian Founder this turn. We'll go on completely another route, but no, we do. We get the Mysteria Founder. She's great. And having one animated is so nice for the deck. I wish that one was as well, but unfortunately I only have one that's animated. So Queen, not really a problem. Fatal Spell Bomb, looking for them to pick up the kill, and it looks like they're trying to set something up, but we have more than enough to really deal with this without much of an issue. So we can pretty much kill that off, get 6 damage to the face, set up for our Mysterian Prodigy so we can get Anne Sorcery for next turn. Having 10, I'm pretty sure I completely missed that I have lethal with that though. That's one misplay I make for this matchup, which was a little unfortunate because it gave them a chance to kind of make a comeback. Oh no, sorry, mate, we were still just out of range once they healed, but I actually would have been in range thanks to the fact that we would have had the extra off it anyway, thanks to the spell boost from the Magic Founders, so I would have had lethal, it's just I forgot to count those extras. I wish the card would say like +2, +1, something on it that would indicate that it's got those extra spell boosts on them would be nice. Similar to how Hearthstone tells you when those cards are affected by some effect that will boost them up higher for damage, and that's always helpful. Be nice if Fan Sorcery had a similar effect on it. Or all spells in general for Rune, as it definitely would help the archetype. Otherwise though, we did win in the successive turn anyway, which is always good. So now, following on from that matchup, we are going up against Shadow, a deck that has presented itself as reasonably strong in the meta, although in my opinion, I still think it's on the lackluster side compared to some of the other decks like Rune and Forest that seem to be creeping up. Although I have mentioned in the past that Forest still doesn't feel great, I still think it feels a little bit better than Shadow, at least as far as overall competitiveness goes. But they're both decks that I haven't been able to utilize myself fully, so I'm only going that based on what I've versed. So definitely not 100% informed opinion, as I haven't been able to test both those decks myself. So we go for the Omen play, of course. We're just starting off with those very early plays again, trying to get whatever we can into our hand to take advantage of. Now, opponent not really doing a lot other than drawing here. We're probably going to want to take out this 1-2 to stop them from potentially evoing into even more draw power, which is always the thing you want to do against these peacocks. So definitely a worthwhile way to do things. Especially going into turn 5, where Mysteria Founder should be a reasonable enough play. Of course, Lady Grey, not my favourite card when the opponent plays it, as it is probably a little overtuned. I wouldn't say overpowered, but it's definitely a strong card. It doesn't really lack in any area, with high statted body, a decent evo effect, and the fact it gains Drain. Or has Drain, sorry, which is really nuts for a deck like Shadow that is pretty much a mid-range deck at this point in every sense of the word. Very few control or aggro decks really exist for Shadow in rotation. Friend Monster Girl, another card that's pretty much become a staple. It's nice utility, it's got both removal and it's also got a body, which is nice. Works well with some of the evo effects. Definitely a card that I could see continuing to remain in Shadow pretty much no matter what at this point. It's definitely not the first thing I would cut from a Shadow deck. Although this is an interesting one, as our opponent has gone for these gravestone cards, which basically just give them shadows. So they're going to be generating a lot of shadows now, which is nuts. And another Lady Grey. And this time a Troth's Curse. A little disappointed by the Troth's Curse. Certainly not what I wanted to go up against. 3 damage though, picking that up is always helpful. It means we do have a quite nice boost on our overall damage with this deck so far, which is always a helpful thing to have. Cerberus is about to give them 6 shadows just there, plus the 3 from its bodies, which is crazy. That's 9 shadows for 1 follower basically at that point. The value on that one card is just insane. So Mysteria and Blackroom makes a pretty nice line of play, giving us 0 cost cards and letting us access and sorcery, pretty much making it impossible for the opponent to combat us next turn. Which is why we do end up picking up the victory. So I had a lot of fun with this deck. Again, I did just pull it from a random Twitter. It's where I pull a lot of kind of different decks. It's really a good mixed bag to make videos of because you have both bad, good, and interesting, which is always a nice thing to do. So if you guys did enjoy this video, hit the like button and subscribe. Until next time, see ya.